Who the hell would want to be like me? I suck. God. Could it be that this whole post was written by my own internal monologue?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise swearsies, it's just a fact and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Today we are diving into r/LegbeardStories. It actually comes from my personal subreddit, r/ReddX reads, and it seems to be a heavy one. There are some trigger warnings right up front, so if you don't enjoy those heavier stories, this is the verbal warning. I know we'll get the other warning a little bit later, but I do think that it is important to have a balance between the hilarious stuff and the serious, we need to talk about this kind of stuff. So as usual, I haven't vetted it too much aside from like a glance at the title page, but I do thank Miss Duchess Tack114 for posting it up for us and also for subscribing on the Patreon. I do recognize that name, so thank you very, very much for supporting the channel in multiple ways. That is supremely awesome, and it is because of viewers like you that this channel just keeps on rolling forward. 10K subs. I'm still not over it. That's so crazy, guys. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see where this channel is in another 5 or 6 months. So we'll get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will dive right into some Legbeard cringe and keep this train rolling. Young, socially struggling Legbeard tells me a horrible story because she wanted to relate and, quote, be like me. Ooby-doo, I want to be like you. Oh, maybe I'm not going to be laughing much after the story, so let's soak that up while we can. Hello, fellow cringe consumers. My name is Miss Duchess. I've been listening to ReddX for quite some time now, and just became a patron. Love you, ReddX. Hey, thank you so much, Miss Duchess. Like I said, that Patreon support, that's the real MVP move. I don't really have to freak out when ad rates start to drop, like they did in July. I was not prepared for it, but my patrons helped me to pull through, so bless you guys. Love all of you guys. I thought I would share some of my own stories of encounters with Legbeards and Neckbeards alike. I am new to Reddit, so I apologize for any formatting errors. Oh, looks good so far. You even got the bold text. Look at that. Trigger warning. This story is a bit dark, and mentions of ape, abuse, suicide, self-harm, religious prejudice, and abortion are in this story. Jesus. If any of these topics cause you discomfort, I suggest skipping this story. Some of the details are fuzzy, as this was more than 5 years ago. But that being said, the other parts of this tale are understandably seared into my brain for all eternity. And you too will soon learn exactly why. This happened to me when I was a freshman in high school. I had just moved schools from a godless hellhole of a private school which I had attended since kindergarten. Seriously, fuck that school. Ah, come on, OP. I'm pretty sure your parents paid good money to send you to that hellhole. But it is true that school in general is not the best place to be, whether public or private. The reasons for moving schools were pretty significant. For one, I have learning differences that the high school would not easily accommodate. And two, I had been the victim of serious bullying and alienation from my peers to the point in which I could not find a friend group to anchor myself in. The culture was very cliquey. Think Mean Girls lunch table's description scene. I'll spare you the details, as you aren't here to hear my tale of woe, but these people drove me to try and end myself. Safe to say, it was pretty bad. Haha. I don't think the haha fits there. That is horrible. Although I think a lot of high schools are like this, at least they were back in my day. Nowadays, high school seems like a bit more of a welcoming place, but still probably pretty cliquish in a lot of regards. Anyway, I moved to a new private school in the same city that was religiously affiliated, Christian, non-denominational, and boy, do I have some interesting stories on that front. The school had a program for students with learning differences, and the amount of care that the faculty had for the students was immensely higher, which was a lifesaver for me. That being said, the social scene was not easy for me. Given my past trauma and generally different outlook on life, I'm not religious, it was hard to make friends. So enter the LegBeard. I have to wonder how close religion is tied into a private, religiously affiliated school. It seems like sort of a weird thing to me, but I've never experienced it, so I can't truly speak on it, but it seems to me that not being religious doesn't seem like it would be a huge deal. Now, I was not super trusting of my fellow womenfolk. Menfolk in the bowler beard story, womenfolk in the socially struggling legbeard. That's too hilarious to me. At least not at this point in my life, so I wasn't keen on approaching any of them, but this girl approached me first. Before we get any further, I want to state that I'm pretty sure this girl had, or has, her own slew of mental health issues, which may have driven her actions later on, so I harbor no ill will towards her. We'll call her Amy. Amy didn't look completely like your stereotypical legbeard. She was on the heavier side, but not horribly so, and she seemed to keep up with her hygiene, aside from telling me that she detests shaving her legs. Honestly, me too though. I avoid it whenever possible because it sucks. Yeah, I can only imagine. I hardly keep up with shaving my face. And that is much smaller than the legs. But yeah, as ReddX says, it's the beard on the inside that counts. I'm gonna put it on a t-shirt. Actually, I did put it on a t-shirt. Check that out at Teespring. Links in the description. I do appreciate it. By all accounts, she seemed pretty normal. Keyword there, seemed. She didn't appear to be very close with anyone though, and I believe that she was a new student as well, so I, being the loner that I was, sort of gravitated towards her. It seems like such a nice thing, like OP's just gonna go to the new school and make a friend, but if that was the whole story, then we wouldn't need the post. So let's see. We would hang out at school together and visit with each other during classes that we had together. However, I was never really that close with her, which is why I don't understand to this day why I began sharing such personal information with her. Maybe it was my vulnerability, but I suppose I felt comfortable talking to her about my history of self-harm and suicide attempts. Looking back on it, I think it was just nice to have someone who would listen to me and seemingly have no outward judgment of me. This, dear readers, was my grave mistake that unleashed all the crazy. Yeah, you gotta keep that operational security up, OP. Don't tell nobody nothing that they don't need to know, you know? Amy began sharing her own struggles with self-harm and depression. I was sympathetic and listened to her, even if I was not super comfortable with it. After all, she had always offered to listen to me vent, but I, on the other hand, did not verbally offer her that same service. Yeah, it sounds bitchy, but I knew my limits at that time, and I know my decision to talk to Amy about such sensitive topics was a big error on my part. I didn't have the balls back then to tell people that I was uncomfortable being their therapist either. Ooh, goddamn, preach. I identify with that one so much. It was sort of a role that I had assumed for other friends of mine in the past, and I'm glad that I shed myself of that unnecessary responsibility. She would choose to talk about these things at weird times, like when I left the classroom to go to the bathroom, or before school started in the common area. Now, I do get this one pretty often. People will DM me on Discord or whatever and tell me their life's worries and woes, and honestly, I don't have room for that sort of emotional baggage, so I just say, okay, sorry dude, I hope you get some help with that. I know a good therapist if you need somebody to talk to, but I am not a therapist. I'm a comedy YouTuber, okay? There is a big difference there. I do want to help out. I want to support people's dreams as much as possible, but I am only one man, and one man who is not equipped to provide the help that people like this are looking for. Anyway, yeah, I totally get what you're saying there, OP. However, the more that Amy talked, the more it seemed like she was in danger. She started telling me that her parents were abusive to her. emotionally, and maybe even physically. I don't remember, and learning this began setting off alarm bells in my head. From there, the things that Amy told me got more and more intense. She told me all about her boyfriend, that conveniently didn't go to our school, of course, and how he was abusive to her as well. One day, while in a quiet common area, she sat down and told me that her boyfriend had raped her, and being 15 and already severely mentally ill, all of this disturbing information began to weigh pretty heavily on me. She then told me that she was pregnant. Jesus. It would be such a sad story if we didn't establish in the very beginning of the post that she's lying about all this, which takes it from a sad place to an absolute crazy, insane place. Like, what is going through her head right now, dude? I urged her to tell her parents, and she said that he'd gotten her pregnant before, and her parents were angry when she got a termination. So I suggested telling the school. Amy then says that,
I can't tell the school about any of this because if they learn that she's going to get another termination, they would kick her out and most certainly tell her family.
I know it may sound crazy, but the school has managed to kick people out for things like this before, from what I've heard. Well, I guess that ties into the religious portion of the school, doesn't it? I promised her that I wouldn't say anything, but internally, I was freaking the fuck out. I had no idea what to do with all of this information. I didn't know Amy very well, but I did care about her, and of course I sympathized with her greatly. I was only 15, for fuck's sake. This was too much. I sat on this information for a while, mulling it over in my brain. After I pulled my emotions out of the situation, I began really thinking about everything that she had said to me, and some things weren't adding up. One, I was pretty sure in my state, someone who was a minor would have to have a legal parent or guardian to sign off on getting an abortion. So Amy getting one without her parents knowing did not seem that plausible. Another thing was, she never told me her boyfriend's name, or really any other key details about him or her family, which I found odd, and when I asked some other girls if they knew Amy's boyfriend, they claimed to not know what I was talking about. This all made me hesitantly suspicious, but I tried to ignore that little voice in my head, shaming myself for thinking that she would lie about such things. Yeah, most normal people wouldn't lie about such things, but this is not a normal person. After a week of thinking on it, I decided to go to the school counselor's office. I could not keep this information to myself anymore. If Amy was really suffering in an abusive household and was pregnant from an assault, this girl really needed help that I obviously couldn't provide to her. I went into the counselor's office, and I remember the counselor smiling sweetly at me. "Hello, Miss Duchess. What was it you wanted to tell me about today?" she asked. After some breathing exercises, yay, anxiety. I identify with that too. Miss Duchess, you and I, we're much the same. I finally began telling her everything that Amy had told me. I talked about her parents, her boyfriend, and her pregnancies. I felt so awful doing it, like I was betraying Amy's confidence in me, but I just didn't have the inner strength to hold on to such sensitive knowledge. I expressed my worry, and the counselor listened intently, promising that she would look into it. I left feeling ill to my stomach, like I had just done something unforgivably wrong. Nah, don't feel that way. You're dealing with it in the best way that anybody would know how to. Like, I don't know what the hell I'd do in this situation. If it were a real series of events, you'd be more wrong to sit on it, wouldn't you? Maybe the comment section will let me know how they feel about that. A few days later, I was called back into the counselor's office, and the principal and Amy were already sitting there with the counselor. "Miss Duchess, Amy has something to tell you," I remember the counselor saying. Amy then burst into tears.
I'm sorry, Miss Duchess. I'm so sorry.
She sobbed. I was taken aback. What the hell was she sorry for? Had my little hunch been correct? And it turns out, my friends, that I was indeed right. Amy had fabricated this entire story, and I was the only one that she had told it to, claiming that she had done it because
she wanted to relate to me
and
wanted to feel closer to me.
whatever that means. I was in shock. I mean, sure, I had my doubts about her, but I had felt so guilty for even having them. She then told me something that still disturbs me.
I just wanted you to like me. I just wanted to be like you, Miss Duchess.
I'm sorry. What? All of these things that you think are like me, that ain't me. I kind of follow the line of logic a little bit, but I get into that at the end. For some reason, these words made me supremely angry. This girl had lied to me about horrendous things, throwing real and imaginary people under the proverbial bus, all because she wanted to be like me. First of all, I thought, who the hell would want to be like me? I suck. God. You're hitting home run after home run. Yeah. Could it be that this whole post was written by my own internal monologue? Second of all, what kind of person was she to want such horrible things to befall her? I know people who have suffered some of those very same conditions. I was absolutely at a loss for words. I felt disgusted, violated in a sort of way. I, a vulnerable, depressed, and deeply empathetic teenager, had been deceived by a girl that I was beginning to consider a friend. The contempt I felt in that moment was quite great. Honestly, I think she was more embarrassed than anything for getting caught up in such lies. I don't believe she actually wished that these circumstances that she came up with for herself were real. I certainly hope to God that she didn't. I don't know. I never expressed my anger at her, and I generally tried to sweep it under the rug and internalized it, as did she. But I never forgot about this, and she knew that. I left the meeting, again, feeling like I was about to puke. So much for making new female friends. I had already begun a relationship with a guy in my art class, and I decided that male friends were much safer, thus officially beginning my integration with the nerds and neckbeards of my class. Gotta love them. And I do. They're not all bad people. Like, such a small percentage of nerds and neckbeards are actual horrible neckbeards or terrible nice guys, you know? You can't paint them all with the same brush. That just ain't fair. So yeah, that's my story on how a legbeard ruined my quest of making new female friends. It was alright though, as I found that I had more in common with my guy friends anyways, but that's not to say that we were completely void of drama. High school is a serious place. These problems matter. Amy was never really that kind to me after that fateful day, and generally avoided me, and part of me still wonders if there was any truth in what she had told me. Maybe there was, but I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't and should never concern me. Safe to say, my trust issues were furthered by this incident, and I still have a hard time making friends, both male and female at this point, but that's another story. I believe the moral of the story here is, don't lie about things to get people's attention and concern. That's basic, especially such egregious allegations. It's really fucked up, and will almost always end with an explosion in your stupid, big, dumb, lying face. Had to add a couple words there to emphasize the point. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. I'm sorry it was so dark. It got a lot longer than I expected as well. This was quite cathartic to write about, actually, and I even learned a little bit more about myself in doing so. Retrospectively, I find it cringeworthy due to the outrageousness of Amy's actions and words, but maybe I'm mistaken in that view. Amy, if you're reading or listening to this, I do hope that you are well, and please, for the love of all things divine, don't pull this shit with anyone else. It ain't healthy. Love you, ReddX. Thanks for entertaining me while I do random shit, lol. I got you, fam. If you guys want to hear any other stories, just let me know. I got a few short ones, as well as another Legbeard story that is actually quite wholesome. Peace. Right, so I think in her screwy little Legbeard brain, she is looking to connect with the OP. OP is opening up with some of the darkness that she's experienced, and the Legbeard maybe hasn't experienced darkness to that extent, but she wants to keep pace and match what OP is telling her, or not even match. This is like a classic case of one-upsmanship, and oh my god, lying about stuff like this, that is absolutely insane. I also don't think that it would be fair to let OP completely off the hook 100% scot-free because, you know, you are using this friend as your therapist, but you don't want to make it a two-way street. You know, if you don't want the relationship to be that, then you shouldn't open it up either. But yeah, I don't think that this story was all that dark, basically because the entire time it was all a lie. You know what I mean? I do hope that OP is doing better now because the situations that she went through were not a lie. But this Legbeard pushing it to the limits, like, what is even the deal with that, man? I honestly don't know if that Legbeard was new to the school at all. Maybe she had just lied to a bunch of people and driven them off in the exact same way that she did to OP. I also don't know if boys are necessarily less drama, particularly nerds and neckbeards when you end up throwing a milady into the mix. I'm sure you got some delicious stories, and we're looking forward to hearing them. I think this episode is a little bit shorter than usual, but no worries, we're going to jump into some RPG horror stories. I'll have that uploaded in about 8 to 10 hours scheduled, so all you guys can have just a little bit more of that sweet cringe to help you drift off to sleep. But if you did enjoy this video, I hope you like, comment, and or subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. You know, maybe share the video around if you should like. I do always appreciate that. We've also got some links in the description, lots of stuff down there, plugs, social medias, etc., and my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. Yes, I'd like to thank them all as always, but especially Calvicus, Fatboy, Shrimp, Robert Waits, TSM Kirby, Teddy the Police, USMC 8932, Aaron W, Delicious Jelly Donut, Candy Sora, Fire Drake, Livison, Silent Revolver, Zero MMX, Magdalene Marshall, Thorn Rose, Little Lone Wolf, Vanilla Mel, Rousdower, Babsy Coon, Caustic Fox, Aaron Lennox, Fisher Diggy, Hypat Japan, OG James Cook, JM Coon, Jerry, John Hero, KK, Miss Monday, Melgar the Destroyer, Mirthful Baker, Mr. J, my boy Nat One Nick, Lady Nix, Origami Steve, Katykins and Elizabeth, Sidestep, Cider Drinker, Serrated Ash, Siegfried, Steampunk Ellie, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tamago, Tato Fair, 10-Ton Monster, That Duck and Bug, Fusky, Treeberg, Will Mags, Redwin, Goose Says Honk, Leon Embers, Naga Viper, John Indoors, A Normal Joe, A Roxers, Cake Jerry, that's a different Jerry. Crafty Kitty Cat, Mark 211. Maybe next time. Milk Fed Gimp. Miss Duchess, ROP. Double thank you today, Miss Duchess, the MVP. Origami Cam, Princess Rosalie, Ghosty, the Last Shinobi, and the Maestro himself, Zuka Cervantes. I definitely appreciate all you guys for signing up on that Patreon, supporting the channel in the way that you do, and I hope that some other people will consider signing up. But if you can't do it right now, monetarily, don't sweat it too hard, guys. Mostly, I just appreciate you coming on through and hanging out with me, because really, that's how my beard stays buttered. Gotta inject some neckbeard voice. I don't feel like it's a complete video without a neckbeard voice. In order to join us again, you're gonna need to keep yourself safe out there, wash your hands, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today. Maybe, watching some ReddX videos. Yeah. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one, and until then, friends, bye-bye.